A one-handed market forecast. Hi, I'm Dean Jenkins with FollowMeTrades.com, and this is the market update for the week coming up of July 17th, 2016. And I say a one-handed market forecast. There's a great quote from Harry S. Truman, former president Harry S. Truman, and Harry Truman was a very quotable president. And one of the things he said was, "Give me a one-handed economist." That all my economic advisors say, well, on one hand it could do this, and on the other hand it could do that. And he said, just give me a one-handed economist. And that's a pretty funny quote. Now, in terms of the market here, I'm looking at the S&P 500 daily chart, and we've just put in, after the Brexit news, we had a couple down days, and we've just put in a 13-day rise, and 4 of those days made new records for the S&P 500. So what's going to happen next? Well, on one hand, it could go up farther, and on the other hand, it could go down. And in terms of the broad market on a daily chart, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. The current market wave count and technical analysis, it's impossible to tell where we're going to end up. What will be the absolute top of this market? Just don't know. But in terms of a shorter time frame and what's going to happen over the next week or two, I'll give you a forecast on one hand, and I will take a specific and exact stand on that. So let's take a look. So this is a chart of the S&P 500 futures contract on a 60-minute chart. So every price bar represents 1 hour. And back here is where this current move up started, kind of post-Brexit. There's the Brexit drop. And you can see I've been talking about it in the last couple updates. I've begun using Ichimoku Cloud in addition to the rest of my analysis tools, and you can see we've just broken beneath the cloud here on the 60-minute chart, and that's pretty significant. Now, we did break under it briefly here for a moment, and it looked like it was going to correct a little bit, but that turned out to not be a wave 4. And let me use my Fibonacci retracement tools, and if we look, the first move up, first move down started here, so that's where we measure from. And if we go up here, that did not meet the criteria. It did not go down to a Fibonacci retracement level of 38.2 yet. So that was just part of the sequence of higher highs, higher lows. And so we have not had a real correction to this move, and again, 13 days. And now we're below the cloud, and we've got a pretty clear retracement zone here of 38.2 to 61.8 Fibonacci retracement, which takes us down to 2104 to 2066 on the S&P 500 futures contract. I'm going to go down to an even lower time frame, and you can see that this gets even more marked, and we see a very important pattern forming here. So let's drill down just a moment. So here we are on the 30-minute chart, and I'm going to get my pen out and show you something here. So there was a very key, the market channeled just a little bit. There was a very key, what's called a support level, a level that the market did not go below for quite some time here. And then we went through it, and using Dow theory, we had a low that went through a support level, we had a higher low, and then a new low, and then this was right here, just after the regular market closed on Friday, and the Friday after market trading, right as the news about the what sounds like a coup taking place in Turkey. Now, is what's going on in Turkey going to continue? Is that going to drive the market? I have no idea. But we do have a really clear technical pattern here, and it looks like we were kind of due for a correction in this current short-term move, and that it's probably going to continue down here into this retracement zone, which again, the high end of that is 2104. And that would just be a normal, expected part of an ongoing market cycle. So in the larger time frame, is it going to go higher, or is that the absolute top of the market? I really do have no idea. But in terms of what happens next week, maybe into the following week, it's a pretty clear technical case here that we're going to get at least a small short-term correction in the S&P 500 down to these levels that I talked about. Again, the top of that range being 2104. And we're trading that. We're actually short the SPY, S&P 500 spiders. We went short midday Friday. We're looking forward to see how that plays out. So that's my one-handed prediction. Very specific. I think it's a high probability move for this next week, maybe into next week, for what's going to happen on the S&P 500. And again, on a longer time frame, bigger picture, just not sure. We're just going to have to wait and let that see play out, and I'll certainly give updates. Let's take a look at gold and oil now, like we always do. So So here's the gold futures contract. And in my update last week, I said, hey, we're up in the target zone, and it looks like it's pulling back a little bit. Now, it could reverse up, specifically if the indexes head down sharply over the next week or two, like I think they're going to. We could get another surge in gold, and it could go a little farther up into the target zone. But I do think we're near the end of this particular move, and there'll probably be a correction. Now, this could be the beginning of it, or it could go up and then start it. But I think it's a little bit too late to get into gold right now, and I would hold off on that just a little bit, and let's see how this shapes up. So let's go to oil. In my last update on oil, I said it was really remarkable. You know, we had this big move up, this recovery from about $30 a barrel up over $52 a barrel, and we expected a bit of a pullback, and we sure got it. And we're right down at the expected retracement level. That level is between 45.41 and 41.25. But I said that the Ichimoku cloud was providing some support here. And look how it is over the last 4 or 5 days. It's sat here at this support level on the Ichimoku cloud, which technically was in that wave 4 correction. So could it move up from here? That's becoming more and more probable. So let's watch and see what happens with oil. It could go a little bit lower, but you know, once this turns, we're still looking for the next leg up, which will go up over $60 a barrel on the futures contract. And that'll take time to play out. It won't happen in a few weeks. But let's keep watching this. It's at a key level right now. Let's see if it reverses and starts heading back up. So I'll give that update as it plays out. Well, that's the update for this week. Again, I believe that the broad market, the S&P 500, is going to retrace a little bit, and whether it goes up to new highs or not after that, I don't know, but it's really clear that over the next week or two, really high probability of a bit of a pullback. Gold, still in an uptrend, maybe turning, we don't know. Oil, we're looking for this turn, and then for the next leg up. So trade safe as always, and send me your feedback, please. I enjoy that. Some of the folks on the YouTube video post comments, and I appreciate that, so keep them coming, and we'll catch you next week, if not sooner. Thanks.